Let's hurry up and finish recording this podcast so I can get back to watching the Venture Brothers. Going off with RC and Muse. Did you happen to catch the SNL skit?
No.
Where Jim Carrey was playing as Biden?
No. I can't bring myself to watch a second of Saturday Night Live. Can't do it.
Exactly. See, I was right there with you. Like, I was like, I don't want to fucking whatever. But then they're like, Jim Carrey, and I was like, Jim Carrey, though. Like, actually got a couple of legit laughs out of me, and it was a, like, genuine, like, good impression. I was like, oh, damn, he actually, like, because it's interesting. I guess just like in general, it's not like Jim Carrey's always been like the perfect guy at comedy. He's always been way too over the top. So now, as an old man who has to slow down, it's like, this actually works. Like, you should probably have just been a cast member on this as an old man, and so that you would be calmed down and we could just enjoy, the best of your skits. It's like with Robin Williams, except the opposite, where it's just like, well, no, Robin Williams never slowed down, actually. Yeah, because I remember the comedy special he did in the 2000s on Broadway. You saw that one, right? Yeah, and I was just like, wow, this is just as manic as probably even more so. Like, I'm 10 and I can't follow what's happening. There's a point where Jim Carrey as Biden goes like, makes quite the insinuation as to like, oh man, wouldn't it be nice if, the person who's been making things hard for everyone was taught a lesson about this virus? Like some sort of wording where it's just like, he didn't say that he hopes that he gets coronavirus, but, and so like before the skit came on, they were like, we put this, like they had like a specific warning, like, hey, we put this up because we felt, we had to put it up and be honest. And I was just like, in my mind, I'm thinking, what offensive thing is SNL
That
said?
Is so funny. Holy shit.
So just to have that moment of, like that was like just valuable in and of itself, in the fact that I didn't know, like I hadn't seen the skit before seeing it after, like, Trump had already gotten it, you know what I mean? And it was like 3 days later, I think, when he had gotten it. So, and I had seen the skit like 4 days later.
Yeah, I wonder when they filmed that, because it came out like Friday that he had it.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, well, I mean, we can't just not run it now.
Right. It's like, accidentally controversial, just the way I like my SNL.
Oh, yeah, because damn well they're not going to try, specifically.
Exactly.
Any bit of controversy or comedy, for the most part, is accidental. Finding
out that, like, yeah, not only is like, oh yeah, Trump's got it, and all these other people, like, it's riddled all throughout his campaign having it now, like, we're finding out. And it's just like, wow, whoa, wait a minute, you guys actually buy your own con? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just really having that pardon the expression, mask off moment of like, wait, you actually weren't wearing well, this whole time? Like, because, you usually assume, whenever there's these type of dystopian movies, it's like, oh, the purge for thee, but not for me. You know what I mean? It's like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, you guys can do all that mask off shit, but seriously, get the peasants to do my groceries, and I'm not actually going outside. Oh my God, I'm not sure how much material we're going to have for the first album we're looking at today.
Hey, it's okay. This podcast doesn't need to be that long.
Yeah, gonads.
All right, so.
All up in your face.
We've got 2 album requests.
Gonads.
This week. And we're going to start with
We're going to lower them.
We're going to start.
Lower one and then the other.
God damn it.
One's a little droopier than the other, so that one's got to come first.
Aw, come on now. We got to start with the fan favorite, the independently produced album. And this time we've got Constructivist with That's Plenty.
No, they're Swedish.
Are they Swedish? I was looking up on, they were speaking Russian during one of the songs, so.
Oh, well.
I couldn't tell. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say this, okay? So this wasn't very good, but during the parts where they are rapping in Russian, it almost works for me, in a sense that I honestly think that this really does come down to translation issues, and issues where maybe rapping in your first language might not work the same flow-wise, and it's really hard to adjust. I can imagine that would be the case. That's very hard to flip that switch and, okay, now I gotta make that sound good in English.
I'm going to disagree with you. I think this is pretty bad from top to bottom, regardless of... Wait, hold on a second. Just a second.
See, I saw promise at points, and I will say, whoever did the production on here, I really liked most of the instrumentals. The first 2 tracks had really good instrumentals, although I don't know if they work in this context.
Sorry, goddammit, I had to kill a spider.
Oh. See, like, I think they were like more like 90s, almost Eurobeat type beats, and I appreciate that in its own way, but I don't know if rapping on top of it, I don't know if it's the right genre of an instrumental for what they were going for, so it just kind of sounded a bit clunky.
I want to say, I love you, I appreciate the donation, but if you're paying for, if you're paying me for this, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is awful, like, atrocious to listen to.
Now look.
Even in terms of, like, the sound quality, no, I can give an artist that. I can be like, and like, yeah, it's not in language, like, yeah, I can give you that, but like, no, never have I gotten such an immediate dip in being able to enjoy a song, and it happened every time the track started. It would just be like, oh, well, maybe no, I can't even get anything out of this,
okay.
And he's just rapping about nothing.
Now, I don't remember you being nearly, and I'm not trying to pit people against each other here, but I don't remember you being nearly this hateful against Young Seagull, and I thought this was better than Young Seagull.
Honestly, no.
Wow.
This is worse. That I could at least listen to, at some point during some of those tracks, I could listen and be like, oh, he's going for some sort of cryptic. Okay, I can start. With this, I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. There's one track where they say, fuck Ben Shapiro and fuck Jordan Peterson.
Yeah,
I was like,
bullshit on parade, yeah.
And, like, but it's not even worth listening to it for that, because, like, the instrumental just sounds like such a podunk version of the track that it's referencing.
I did think that was a bit cringy, especially if it's an EP on SoundCloud. You might as well just sample the damn thing.
Yeah, like if it's gonna be this cheap, yeah.
You might as well just use the actual beat. I know this is a reference few will get, but in the 90s, WCW, sometimes they would rework already existing songs to be entrance themes for people by just, like, changing a couple notes. Like, hey, it sounds like Smells Like Teen Spirit, but a couple notes are reversed.
Self-high five.
Oh, see, I'm not disagreeing that this was poorly done. I will absolutely agree that there are definitely shortcomings. I'll say that. But I at least saw promise here. In Run from the Boss, I thought that I was not a fan of and I will say this, not at all a fan of the really all up on the microphone, low talking flow on that one. I could do without that, where it's almost like you're maybe try not to let the boss hear. I would say the worst track on here would be Tinder Small Talk. There's a few different folks on there, and it makes it that much harder to follow because no one's on the same page. And I'm getting very small, incomplete thoughts, and then I'm on to the next one, and it's like, alright, I don't know what that last guy was saying, and now I'm on to someone else. See, I'm not sure how many dudes were even dealing with here. At least 2, maybe 3, I don't know.
For me, as I'm listening to it, I thought of, like, other rappers who are, like, independent. And, they're foreign rappers, right? And so they're rapping with an accent, and lots of people immediately dismiss them. And part of it is because, there's that assumption that foreign artists are, like, amateur hour because they're just trying to imitate, American artists and, like, barely even mastering, like, basic flows. And this just sounds like Eurotrash that. You know what I mean? Like, it just sounds like a bunch of Eurotrash white boys fucking around on Fruity Loops. And, if it came out, you know what? Like, and so I'm of two minds. I was thinking, like, is this a joke? Because if it is, it's just not that funny, and it's not trying hard enough to be ridiculous. And if it is being taken seriously, oh my god, do you have to go back to the drawing board on this shit? Like, because I'm just not invested in anything he's doing in these songs. Like, with the type of songs that he's doing, it feels like it's like, oh, it's more of the cryptic lyricism that I'm going for, but like, I'm not able to follow anything that you're freaking saying, and it sounds like nothing, and it's just like, okay, you got to take some more time to make me feel what you're doing and lay out the flow, because it's like, do you want to listen to this? Do you want to listen back to you garbling and tripping over your flows?
That's the biggest issue I have, is the flow. I know you're going to disagree with me on this. I think it would have made a marginable difference if it was structured out better. I think that's its biggest deterrent, honestly. I didn't have a problem following what they were saying. The beat was just hard to follow. The flow was hard to follow. I mean, I just want to quote this one bit, because they were nice enough to give me the lyrics on SoundCloud, so I was actually able to read along to this. Top hat in public, bottom in private. I didn't mind that line. I thought that was pretty clever. Tired of the repetition of algorithms. Guess I'll take a drink and try my luck like a man out of prison. Drink till I'm gone and party until the sun and crying I'm done and party until I'm not... Like, that, like... Okay, whoa. Why did that go on so, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you had an alright flow going there, and then just that one part, like, crammed in there, like, whoa, alright. I think that's the biggest problem, is the flow.
Like, it's trying to impress me, but it's so following over itself that, like, I'm clearly not impressed, you know? Like,
I'm gonna say this, it sounds like they wrote the lyrics before they had beats in mind.
Oh, that definitely sounds like it.
Because it sounds like you're trying to put what you had written down, and then it's like, nah, this doesn't fit. But you only have 4 beats. I knew so many rappers
that were like, yeah.
So, gotta make it work. If it's not gonna work on track 1, you gotta put it on track 4. It's one of those. And I feel like I say this every week, but almost all 4 of these tracks are essentially finished by minute 1.5.
Yeah.
And then they go on for another 2 minutes.
Another minute and a half at least.
Nothing. Yeah, 1.5 to 2 minutes of just the beat that I thought sounded okay, but I don't need to hear it this long.
Yeah, every song wears out its welcome. Like, and there's only 4.
Yeah. Are you saying that's plenty? 4 is plenty.
More than enough.
Aw.
It's a plethora in this case.
Oh no. Overflowing. My cup runneth over. I gave this a 1.5.
I gave it a 0.
0.
Nah. No love. Absolutely no love.
I'm not trying to pit them against each other, but damn, like, after hearing Young Seagull, I can't in good faith believe and agree with you that this is worse.
I see some sort of potential, and the Young Seagull got to flip into some Cannibal Ox type of shit with what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? With this, I'm just like, I just don't know what's happening and don't care. You know, like, I'm just not able to even invest myself. And so it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't even muster up that from this.
Cool. I imagine that this is going to be a trend, us disagreeing. Let's head on to our second album.
Uh-oh! Let's see what happens. You're gonna get a little spicy.
Sign O' the Times by Prince, requested by IBXCV.
Yes. Thank you so much for your request. Yo, I'm gonna kick it over to you, my man.
Yeah.
What did you think of your boy's Times album? Let me know what lay it on me.
I'm gonna say this. If I think my opinion on this album would have been affected a little bit if I hadn't had read that people consider this to be his best album, that people consider this to be one of the best albums of the 80s, one of the best albums of the genre, because no. Fuck no. Abso-fucking-lutely no. This is overrated as hell. Okay.
Clutch the pearls, Muse! Say it ain't so! Oh, take off the gloves!
This album was alright at best. I don't understand how anyone can find any enjoyment out of this Camille character he's trying to put on. I read up on this album a little bit here.
Camille? Wait, what? Camille?
Yeah. Alright. Okay. history lesson time.
Uh-oh.
So, this is the first album Prince put out after disbanding The Revolution. And maybe I'm a little salty about this, but I read a little story a while ago.
Is this gonna be like American Idiot all over again? Where...
What's that?
Where I'm like, coming is like, man, you know, I had, like, for me, I hadn't really listened to as much Prince. When it came down on the Prince MJ divide, I was on the MJ side. My mom was just raising that. So, like, I heard the singles, but, like, I never really listened to, like, a full album. Prince was, like, one of those mainstream guys that you knew was good, but you just knew he was good. So there was just no question, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so this was, like, my first time, I do believe, like, hearing, like, sitting down and listening to a full album.
I've listened to a few, actually. Since he passed away, I was inspired.
Well, we listened to the Prince album, the latest one he did, the Artificial Intelligence one.
We did review one of those, yeah.
And I loved that album. I mean, I remember thinking, like, oh, man, this is this guy 20 years, at least 20 to 30 years past what would be considered to be his prime, still knocking it absolutely out of the park with this shit. I did kind of feel like, as listening to this, I was just like, wow, and this was his best in the 80s, and the stuff he did later still sounds better than, like, oh my god, he just only got better, Jesus!
Not just like, best in the 80s, let me reiterate, people consider this to be his best period of his entire discography. This is the best one. So, history goes, Prince invites Wendy and Lisa, two female members of the Revolution, over for dinner.
I'm imagining the crushed velvet and all that good stuff.
Sits them down, they're talking, they're chatting, having a great night. All right, ladies, that was a real fun time. You know, I hope we get to see each other again sometime. Oh, by the way, you're out of the band.
Oh,
Prince is a fucking dick.
What the fuck? You gonna invite him over and give him lobsters and scampi and all that shit, and they'd be like, "Oh, BT Dubs, peace."
So the revolution is no more. R.I.P. The revolution's over. Prince decides, okay, I'm going to release an album that I'm not gonna say is me. I'm not gonna put my name on it. I'm going to do it as this alter ego, Camille, a female artist, where it's basically me, and I'm just gonna pitch my voice up a little bit higher than usual, and I'm gonna put this album out and see how it goes. Warner Brothers is like, no the fuck we're not. We're not putting an album out that doesn't have your name on it because it's not gonna sell. Okay, fine. How about this? I had another idea, where it was a double disc album of songs I did with the Revolution, but I also put that Camille album on there also and sell it as a triple album. Warner Brothers is like, again, fucking no way.
I just want to say, like, Prince is like, it's so funny to see, is like, Prince, you're being, you know, it's like, oh yeah, righteous, you know, artists, you know, we should be believing in everything he does because artists should be allowed to do whatever they want. But as soon as you get into the weeds of it, it does gotta be like, all right, Prince, man, come on, like,
what the fuck do you expect? So they're like,
what do you expect?
So again, they're like, no way, no one's gonna buy a triple disc set. We're not doing that. So he's like, okay, fine. How about I take some songs I had laid out for my follow-up album, take a couple of those songs from the Camille session, squeeze those in there, take one or two songs from the Revolution days, put them in there, sell it as a double disc? There we have Sign O' the Times. Now Camille Schlemazel comes up on this album a couple times and is by far my least favorite aspect of this album. The Camille voice can be heard on such tracks such as Housequake.
Oh!
Shut up already! Damn!
As I listened to this album, I remember someone describing to me, like, this album is like a house party, and each different room is like a different room of funk.
Oh, every song is a different room. Yeah.
And so, you know, you're hearing the party of what's happening in the last one. And so, like, when I was in that mindset, that actually, oddly enough, made Housequake my favorite one.
Wow.
Like, originally, I didn't like the harshness of his voice, because I like Prince's voice normally, and I like when it's just him singing, and it's like, oh yeah, you can hear the full richness and how he contorts his voice normally. So when I heard a song like this, like, out in the wild, it's just like, no, why is he doing that? I don't like this. But then to hear that it's interrupting what's happening before and being like, shut up already. You know, like, it felt like the sort of what's the name of that character from fucking The Fifth Element, the Chris Tucker type of character. It's like, yeah, he's annoying, but you're not gonna forget about him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I thought Prince trying to rap on this track was, for me, really embarrassing and annoying. I couldn't fuck with this song at all. It's my second least favorite song on the whole album. It would have been my lowest rated song on the album if it wasn't for, you guessed it, the other Camille track, If I Was Your Girlfriend. Worst track on the fucking album. Okay. Get this out of here.
Let's have a conversation.
How can anyone earnestly enjoy If I Was Your Girlfriend? This song is so fucking annoying. Get it out of here.
What is happening on this song? What is happening?
Just by the time he's like, please stop.
No. I actually enjoyed that.
No.
I enjoyed that.
No.
I enjoyed that for how weird it is. Again, like, Prince is this guy, like, as I'm listening to this album, again, when I catch these songs out in the wild, they don't hit me the right way. But when it's like, welcome to the weird world of Prince, now you're in this weird land, and this was hitting me in a weird way, but this was one of those songs where it was pushing to the limit my ability to enjoy what was happening, because there was just too much incoherence. Because, like, as I listened to these songs, like, I get white people like Prince. There's just something so weirdly alluring about how he's writing these songs, and I was just like,
guess.
Wait, let me finish though, because it's like, normally there's a way that is alluring to how he writes his songs. But in this one, it just feels so, like, incomplete and confusing, where it's just like, wait, if I was your girlfriend, would you remember to tell me all the things you forgot when I was your man? I'm like, I think I see what he's going for here, right? And he's like, you know, men and women, they just don't communicate, you know, and, you know, okay. It's like, would you let me dress you? I mean, would you help you pick out your clothes before we go out? And I'm thinking like, okay, maybe there's like challenging, you know, gender norms, you know, and it's like, not that you're helpless, but, you know, sometimes that's just what being in love is about. So, you know, let me pick your clothes. Just let me be the one who picks your clothes. And it's just like, what? Huh? Like, is this how he's being? This is such a weird way to be possessive, but you're not sure if that's what's happening because you think it's supposed to be challenging, but it's like, you just don't know what feeling you're supposed to get.
Especially in the lens that he is supposed to be singing it as this female character.
Oh, now I'm even more confused. It's supposed to be a girl singing If I Was Your... That just muddles it because you typically expect, oh, hey, I'm a guy singing If I Was Your Girlfriend. Oh, you know, girls have girlfriends. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
No, I'm so even more confused. And because I remember TLC did a like remix song of this, and I remember enjoying that one so much more because it's just so much more directly coherent with what it's talking about. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, wait, what? Like, is he supposed to be bad? Is this just, we don't understand? I just don't know. So, yeah, that's the one where it works the least, and the synths on this just sound so, like, podunk.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to address that, too. Starting right off the bat with Sign O' the Times, I immediately said out loud, I miss the Revolution, because holy shit.
Oh, the way it's so stripped down, yeah.
Prince fell in love with this drum machine, and it is all over this album, and it sounds so cheap.
You know what it is? I think in 87, it probably sounded cooler at the time.
I don't know, man. Synth by 87 had went past that. Maybe not in R&B, I don't know.
Well, I'll say this, as someone who just did, you know, we just did, on my Twitch, we go through the Billboard Top 100 songs, and I just got through all of the 80s, and I couldn't say this with absolute clarity, that this album that I am listening to is the best the 80s had to offer. Because like, at least as far as the top 40 is concerned, let me clarify. As far as the top 40 is concerned, because, you know, when you get below the top 40 and the stuff that didn't, like, yeah, of course, there's stuff that's like, you know, way bigger and challenging. But as far as top 100, shit was so boring and sleepy, and like, and this plastic drum shit, that was still everywhere. Like, going into 90 and 91, it got even worse, dude. Like, we're going through it right now, and it's just like we had forgotten the depths to which this plastic shit had gotten, to the point where, like, as I'm listening to this, I was like, oh my god, this, like, actually sounded clear. Like, this sounded fucking I'm gonna say fucking revolutionary compared to the boring shit that was on the radio at the time. In fact, there was one track in particular, Play in the Sunshine, which I was listening to, like, and this is what I think, it's like, I'm enjoying these songs as they were, and then when I put it in the context of, like, again, as we were going through the 80s list and listening on the Twitch stream, it was like, so many 80s songs were trying to sound like the 60s and 50s, and it would just be like, no, that's not it. You're just, like, doing a cheap imitation. And this sounded like it was breathing new life into that. It was like, oh yeah, we're going with the 60s, but fuck that. I'm gonna give you a little fucking rocking guitar solo. Give me some of that, motherfucker. You know what I mean? And he's like cussing and like rapping and talking in certain, like, he's using certain affectations in such a weirdly modern way that sounds like there were certain times where I was just like, holy shit, this sounds like Andre 3000, but better than the Love Below. Like, what the fuck? Like, this sounds like, and, you know, granted, Love Below was Andre doing something experimental where it wasn't him at his best, but, like, it's just crazy to think, like, wow, Andre 3000 inspired me with what he was doing, and, like, this sounds like, oh yeah, no, now I understand why people would consider Andre, that album, to be the cheap imitation of this, because holy shit, he sounds so fucking smooth and cool on some of these albums, where he, like, slips in a little rapping, you know, Housequake, alright, I'll give you that one, but, like, later on one of these tracks, he just, like, slips into a rap real quick, where it was just like, whoa, what year was this? Because this sounded cooler than fucking other rappers rapping it, and then I was like, 1987? I think It's Gonna Be a Beautiful Night? Is it that one?
Oh, yeah, the live track?
Yeah, because he's like playing around, and of course, like, he's being like, there's elements of him, like, you know, doing like the James Brown, like, oh, we're gonna get you live and do some real shit. You know what I mean? Like, to give you that real energy of it. And then there's time where he just like slips in, like, oh, he's just like sort of like talking real fast but on the beat, but like trying to be smooth with it, and like it just comes out like a really smooth, like, mini rap in the level that, like, okay, we're now going into 1989, 1990 on my Twitch stream, right? So now we're being introduced to all of the there was a lot more New Jack Swing rapping than I was expecting. A lot more Bobby Brown rapping, a lot more Milli Vanilli rapping than I remembered.
It's tied for my favorite song on the album, and surprise, surprise, this song was recorded live with, you guessed them, The Revolution.
Oh no, oh, that makes it feel sunny.
Yeah, it's like,
oh, fuck off, because
listen to how
that
fun,
really brought it home,
the energy on that song.
Oh, everyone coming together.
Don't you wish there was more of that energy throughout the album?
Don't you wish that you could be a part of this new age Parliament Funkadelic level shit that's going on? You know, this isn't your dad's funk music. We're bringing it into the 80s, you know, with my band, you know?
When they do actually break into the fucking guitar solos, just giving me some type of respite from that drum machine, anything different is like, ooh, that is why the other song tied with it's gonna be a wonderful night, a beautiful night, would be my other favorite track, Hot Thing, because god damn, Hot Thing, the instrumental is sick. It's got that fuzzy bass and guitar riffs.
It's such a this is the single.
I'm a real big fan of when Prince screams, not in the Camille voice, but just like that voice, you know the one.
There was one time where it was like, okay, that's sad. It's scraping a little bit.
Nah, I like that. I like when you can hear his voice kind of strain. Like you can hear he's really trying.
On It was where it was perfect. You know, where he's just like it sounds like his voice is literally like about to break apart.
That was fucking dope. Yeah. That was good.
But yeah, Hot Thing. I love the lyric, Hot Thing, barely 21. I was like, wow, you know, like, it's almost kind of conservative for a rock star. Ooh, clutch the pearls, barely able to drink. but can still vote, I mean, let's not go crazy here.
So, I see what you did there. So, another track I would have liked a lot better if it wasn't for ya girl Camille showing up, and I didn't even realize the fucking big hit with Sheila E. You Got the Look. And here comes Camille. Why does she have to be on this song too? Because if it was just Sheila E., would have been fucking dope. There was such a dope guitar solo at the end too. It had so much going for it.
I was just like, oh, 80s, you so horny, but oddly edited at some points. Like, it's like, oh, you got the look. You sure enough do be cooking in my book. Your face is jamming. Your body's hecka slamming.
Yeah!
Hecka slamming!
I like that.
And then, if love is good, let's get to ramming. I was like, whoa. Like, you went from hecka slamming to let's get to ramming. Like, whoa.
Prince, you gotta go to horny jail. What are you doing?
What is the limit exactly on what you can say?
I love the fucking 0 to 60. Not giving a fuck. Something else I wanted to bring up on Playing the Sunshine. This Delirious Light track. There's a very familiar voice, and I heard someone singing in the background. I was like, huh, that sounds like Wendy from The Revolution. Who is that? Oh, it's Susanna? Wendy's twin?
Prince, what are you doing?
I'm gonna kick Wendy out the group, and then I'm gonna have her twin that sounds exactly like her to sing on this track. You prick! Susanna shows up on 3 other tracks! Prince! If you were just gonna do that, just keep Wendy around! You fuck!
That is quite baffling. I will say, okay, on Sign of the Times, right?
Yeah.
To your point of saying that, yeah, it's so stripped down. Again, initially, that's what I didn't enjoy. That's what I didn't enjoy about the track. Like when I heard it in the wild. I guess it's just because of the lyrics and how they just caught me off guard. And especially with like how he used the offbeatness of the flow of what he was saying. My sister killed her baby because she couldn't afford to feed it, and we're sending people to the moon. Like, wow, that's quite a contrast to bring up. Like, I think that's the first, like, one of the first lyrics. And then it's like, in September, my cousin tried reefer for the very first time. Now he's doing horse. It's June.
It's June.
And like the way, like, it's so offbeat, like, because you kind of forget what the rhyme was supposed to be. Like, wait, yeah, it wasn't he supposed to rhyme? It's June. And like, oh shit, oh, damn, man. All right, I get what you're saying. Shit's escalating really quick. Like, it did such a good job of painting that picture. You know what I mean? Well, I was specifically also wanted to bring up the rocket ships exploding, and wasn't that around the time the Challenger had happened?
Yeah, you might be right.
So it was just one of those things where it's just like, oh, this man is not playing with this fucking album. But then you get the next song where it's just like, oh, come on, let's lighten it up. Let me show you what I do. Oh, we're in the 80s, right? We're doing that flashback to the 60s shit. Okay, but watch how I do it, though.
The fucking seriousness really does just start and end with the first track, really. Like, it doesn't really come back too much, especially with tracks like Starfish and Coffee.
This is how I feel, though. Again, like, remember what I was saying? Like, I got that feeling of like we're just going to such different places. That It's just like songs didn't feel like it was just like here's just a happy song and here's just a sad song. It would be like there's a certain color to this song, and like the very first song is starkly like dark. The very next song is starkly sunshiny and happy, and then it takes you on all these different places where like the very next song is like, shut up with that dumb shit you was just doing. Anyway, here's fun. Like, and I fucking enjoyed little moments where he was just like, anybody know about the quake? And they're like, yeah, bullshit. Like, it's not even that there's jokes, but there's just timing that endears you to the character. There was one part that legit caught me off guard where he just is like, it sounds like he was caught off guard. He goes like, whoa, what was that? And you hear the people go, aftershock. And it's like, but it just works so well in a way where it just like, it actually sounded like you heard a little boom, 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 boom. And he goes like, what was that? Aftershock. like he was actually like, what was that? I really do think that's the power of sequencing, you know what I mean? And being brought into an experience. Then there's the Ballad of Dorothy Parker, which has like an interesting story, but kind of loses me halfway through.
Yeah.
You know, he's this real cool guy. It's like, oh man, you know, I'm getting a fruit cocktail. I ain't too hungry. And she's like, ooh, you're not afraid to do something that would, I guess, be considered, you know, effeminate. So you're a cool guy. I'd definitely like to talk to you. And is this the appeal, right? Is it that sort of like, because in the song, you know, he's just like, oh, I'm this, you know, sort of non-threatening guy, and I won't push beyond my boundaries because I got a little thing going on. So I'm going to keep my jeans on when I get into the bathtub with you for some fucking reason. But you know, it's supposed to show like his restraint. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's willing to be with her in this intimate moment, but he's guaranteeing he's not going beyond a certain level.
There are some tracks where I think Prince adds a lot to the track by merely being Prince, but like Ballad of Dorothy Parker, I think he makes that song.
Yeah, you couldn't not be Prince and sing that song.
But I think there's other songs on here that if just anyone put them out, I don't think anyone would have cared. Specifically citing songs like Starfish and Coffee, which is okay, but certainly doesn't knock it out of the park.
I'm listening to this and I'm expecting an 80s album full of love songs, right? And so to get something that was so different, like, again, it just kept like, it opened another door I wasn't expecting, you know what I mean? Where it's just like, oh, we already got the love song. Okay, where else are we gonna go? Oh, now we're going into this room of like bubbles and rainbows and shit? Like, you know, it was just like, you caught me off guard again, Prince, you know? Like, what the fuck?
But
yeah.
With the fucking, like, listening to this song though, like...
The lyrics?
When I say fine, and then I go to Wikipedia and I see across the board every publication has given it 5 out of 5, like, I don't see it. When I'm thinking about songs like Starfish and Coffee or other songs I was lukewarm on, like Forever in My Life, Strange Relationship, I Can Never Take the Place of Your Man. These songs are not 5-star songs.
I'd actually disagree. It does go a little on too long at the end.
Why is it 6.5 minutes?
The melody of that and the synth on that was so fucking smooth and perfect that I was just like, because I'd actually, like, the song before that, Strange Relationship, was one where I was just like, okay, expressing these weirdly complex emotions. It's one of those songs where it's just like, you know, I feel like at the time people would be like, oh, you know, to make a song about like a bad relationship, you're romanticizing it, right? But like, there's something about this that he makes it so weirdly complex that it's too cryptic to feel like it's glorifying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, so it brings you in that interesting way. And now, to the end that I was like, just listening just to hear where it went on Strange Relationship, with I Can't Take the Place of Your Man, I felt like that amped it up and added the melody and everything that like was like, even if I don't know what's happening, I enjoy this so much and it's so fucking cool and smooth. Going back to Starfish and Coffee though, I thought this was interesting. Like, I'm just like listening to it and how, you know, every other song sounds like this hard plastic synth, you know, and this one sounds like very soft. And I'm like, the fuck's going on? You know, and so it just caught me off, like, just by that, right? And, you know, I was like, okay, what's happening in the song? Is like, you know, is it like that Stevie Wonder song where it's like, oh, you know, that song Overjoyed, where if you listen to it, you know, he replaces the snare, the hi-hat with like a water droplet, you know what I mean? Like, oh, what, you know, what's he doing? So I'm like, I'm looking up stuff to like figure out what's going on, and I couldn't find anything. I think like he probably like reversed the snare sound to make that sound backwards. That's what I feel like I'm getting from that, which is kind of cool. And again, like just adding a certain color, which is interesting. So I look up what the song's about. Like, according to Susanna Melvoin, she had a friend named Cynthia who is autistic and would tell her that every day what she had for breakfast was starfish and pee-pee. I never understood the combo meal, and frankly, nobody else could. It seemed like the deal breaker for most kids. More importantly, the kids in our class who had no interest in how Cynthia came to get her morning breakfast. Prince loved Melvoin's story of Cynthia Rose, and instantly saw that they would make for a good song, but, quote, the PP's gotta go.
Wow, that fucking Prince restraint.
I'm not going to lie, though. If we're putting this in the context of weird, spaced-out Beatles songs, I gotta say to you, I think this is probably one of, like, Prince wrote a better Beatles song than most Beatles songs. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, but like, yeah, you know, with this type of psychedelia rock, isn't there lots of, you know, weird nonsense words about butterscotch and stuff like that? And like,
there can
but with
be.
this is like, but there's like actually a bit of a story, and like, I don't know, it just pulled me in a way that I feel like, you know, I felt like I had to enjoy a Beatles song because of, you know, the prestige of it. So if it doesn't make sense of why they're in a yellow submarine, it doesn't fucking matter. You're supposed to respect it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand this. Like, you know, the Octopus's Garden sounds like a children's song or some shit, but, you know.
I think you judged the Beatles' discography on like 4 songs.
No, because I actually gave them an extensive listen, but that was when I was going through my cross arms, like, why aren't these lyrics the best lyrics ever? But, you know, so I already have just that, like, yeah, you know, yeah, Prince is, you know, this isn't your dad's Beatles, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm already on Prince's side, right? As I'm listening to this, I'm like, oh, you bringing a new color to it and added a little extra little twist to it that only a Prince like you could bring, you know what I mean? And as I'm listening to it, it's like, yeah, these things that feel very weird and slightly nonsensical, but like, maybe they make sense if you're this person. Like, that's what it was. Like, as I'm listening to his song, it felt like maybe if I stayed in this world long enough, I might be able to understand the sort of Alice in Wonderlandian sort of thing. But like, in a way that, like, with the Beatles songs, it just felt like, was that just nonsense? I don't know what the fuck just happened. You know? Oh yeah, I got to Slow Love. And that was the first track where it actually felt like he was doing like a traditional song. When I tell you this shit was the most breezy fucking making love with the curtains open on a breezy summer day type of shit. And again, it was like, once again, he's doing the slow AM love ballads even better than everything I had heard in the 80s. Like, this motherfucker can't be stopped in any fucking venue. And then Hot Thing came on after. I was like, God damn it. Once again, it wasn't until Forever in My Life where I was like, all right, now we're getting a little generic now.
I think Slow Love is textbook Prince. This is what most people think of when you think of Prince, is the fucking baby making smooth as shit. Mm-hmm. And this is absolutely what that is, and I think he does it really well on here. It's definitely one of the better tracks on here, in my opinion.
Hearing that song is like, oh, you're able to slow it down, and then the way he's fucking sped it back up. I'm listening to this shit, I'm like, God damn it. Oh, the fucking almost piercing lonely wail he does on this track, which, despite being so sharp, it still works for the song. It's just insane. All the motherfuckers in the 80s, you needed to fucking bow down and kiss this man's manicured toes. He was making so much better goddamn music than you assholes. Like, holy shit. So with all the other tracks that came before, where it was like, where there were weird spots, it just, the charm of Prince was able to carry me along with it. Like, yeah, by the time I got to Forever in My Life, it was just like, all right, the 80s sheen is starting to come off a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And then when the cross came in, it was just
that was a surprise.
Every time I think, I don't know where this motherfucker's gonna go. When he was getting with the generic song, it almost felt like the generic song was there just to be like, oh, you think it's just gonna, boring old album, isn't it? Oh, after the first half of the album, it's just gonna be a bunch of generic hits. Oh, you weren't expecting the religious song, but I'm actually gonna make you feel the shit, motherfucker. Like, you know what I mean? It was all that type of shit where it was like, usually the 80s song, oh, we're gonna bring in the cheesy, just like the prayer, you know, the happy fun choir. No, he didn't do that shit. Like, he brought it down and brought you into it. Like, he made you take it seriously. You know what I mean? It didn't just feel like it's, oh, you know, spirit in the sky, like, oh, it's time to make the gospel song. It was just like, no, this has been really, like, this is something that I feel is important to us, and we, you know what I mean? Like, and it was one of the things, like, it felt like he was a different persona, because it's like, there's no way this is the same guy who was having the problematic relationship. And so, yeah, that's something that just made it solidify. I was like, you're taking me to all these different weird fucking places that I was not expecting. Yeah, man, it was just fascinating that, like, just this late in the album, still giving me, like, yet another, like, dope jam. And it's one of those things that's always fascinated me, because it's like, growing up, I always remember hearing, like, oh yeah, Prince is all about sex, and, you know, all the censorship hates him, and, you know, the PMRC and all the 80s mothers who want to take him down. And yet, you find out, like, if you actually know about Prince, he's this weirdly very religious person who was, like, going through a lot of different changes, like he went from a Seventh-day Adventist to a Jehovah's Witness.
Right,
like,
yeah.
What type of journey is that? Like, what? And yet you still are like, but sex is this beautiful thing that, like, will not be disrespected. Like, what's going on in this man's mind? He has that thing that makes you want to come along for that journey. Because, like, even if I'm not going to get any answers, I just want to know what's going on. I just want to see the upholstery in your insane mind. You know what I mean? Like, by the time we get to it's going to be a beautiful night. And, like, it feels like we just went outside and we're now in the backyard, you know? And, like, we're about to play one more jam. And it's like, nope, wait, I got another love song. This is the encore, baby, with the door. Where it's just, like, still bringing that goddamn heat in a way that it's just like, where he goes, like, smash smash up my ride. Well, maybe not the ride, but I gotta have your face all up in my place, and I'd like to thank the man. like the way he just slipped in that real quick in a way that I can't even fucking try to do. Like, I'd like to think that I'm a man of exquisite taste, 100% Italian, silk, imported Egyptian lace. I was like, ooh, fucking glamorous. Like, God, he was spitting some shit. Like, that sounded like some flossy 2000s rap type of shit. And I was like, what? Like, you just made like a mini verse that sounded better than like all of the fucking New Jack Swing. I don't know, did you have anything else to say?
No. What did you end up getting?
You know, I'm taking into consideration some of the things that you were saying. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, there is one too many tracks where there's just kind of confusing. And whereas in some tracks, it gives you so much that it feels like just another, like, even if I don't get it, I'm enjoying so much as I'm just stargazing as to the beauty of what's going on in the tracks.
You're still giving it that fucking 5, aren't you?
I was gonna say 4.5, actually. 4.5. I'll give it 4.5.
I fucking knew it. No, I'm gonna catch some hate. I ended up with a 3.
Oh, I'm going to kill you. I'm running over there right now. How dare you spit on this man's grave. You piss in the eye.
You piss. It's okay. There's definitely some highlights on here. I don't quite see the height of it being considered his best album, best of the decade, all around. I don't see that.
And that's the funny thing. Like I said, I legitimately feel like the album that we listened to, like the Artificial A, is like, that was him elevating the game. Like, and it was just like, after people were paying attention, I can imagine that could be frustrating. Like, you're making the absolute best of your shit. And it's like, God damn, I didn't like that old shit. It has the dusty drums on it. No, I cleaned it up now. Now it sounds really good. Fuck. When Musicology came on, that was like one of his last big hit singles that he had. And even then, I was just like, this is so cool. I don't even give a shit that this guy's like 47, 48 years old. Like, and as you're watching the video, he looks in no way 47, 48 years old. And you're just like, this, like, I remember even friends of mine saying, like, man, I want to dance like the dudes in the Musicology video. Like, 15-year-old or whatever friends of mine were like, that 48-year-old guy, I want to be like him. Like, you know, like, that's how just universally cool this guy was. He just came back, made a real quick hit, and everyone just liked it. Like, there were, like, it wasn't even, oh, Aerosmith came back, and isn't it interesting that they have a late pair? It was just kind of like, here, yep, wanted to make another hit, and here you go. Like, this is what I do when I want to make another hit. I just make it sound so good that you can't resist it. It's just kind of what I do. All right, you guys gonna buy the other albums that I'm doing after this? No, fucking hell. All right, I'll just retreat to my mansion with hot chicks and crushed velvet and play basketball.
Oh yeah.
You know, do all the Prince things I do and fucking go to Jewish people's houses and put Watchtower fucking booklets on their doorstep.
Oh, Jesus.
Did you hear about that?
No.
That happened? It was like, the one Jewish family had reported that, like, yeah, they had seen him leaving a clock, one of the clock tower things for Jehovah's Witnesses on their doorstep.
Prince.
It's like, oh my God. What? Like, for real? Can you imagine just being out one day and it's like, that can't be Prince walking up to my fucking doorstep.
That better not be Prince.
That better not be Prince.
Get the fuck out of here, Prince.
I am going to convert.
That about wraps it up for this week's episode of the Going Off Podcast. Big thanks to everyone who requested albums this week for us to review. Sorry if we disappointed you in any way, shape, or form, because I know...
Hey, you paid for it. That's what you get.
I just imagine both people are going to be disappointed in one way or another. But hey, that's the name of the game, I think.
And it just shows just how honest we are. We don't give a fuck if you are paying us.
That is the Going Off guarantee.
The brutal honesty.
The brutal honesty, the raw truth. Nothing but brass
absolutely
tacks.
No love and absolutely no lube, my friends.
Oh, oof. Yikes. No Vaseline. Am I right? Anyway, thank you very much for listening to us and checking us out.
Bad albums do get fucked with no Vaseline.
There you go. If this is your first time listening to us, well, first of all, welcome aboard. Second of all, we have 250 other episodes, give or take. it occurred to me that that numbering might not be 100% accurate.
Oh, yeah, because of this part 2s and... Ooh, that's for the deep lore Star Trek-like fans who are like, no, there's 251 because one was a two-parter where they reviewed 2 different albums.
Excuse me, Rap Critic, but I do believe that there was one episode that wasn't numbered, and you still counted it to 250. I hope someone got fired for that blunder.
Oh, God.
But thank you very much. All the old episodes are on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube, so you can play some catch up and listen to all 200. There's 250 or more to hear.
To see, you have to hear.
To be a
going off. Master is your destiny.
Onyx. I don't know. That about wraps it up for Going Off. Thank you so much for listening, and until next week. For the show, since I already said it, it feels weird to say it again. I'm Muse.
And I'm Rap Critic. And alright, cool, we're done with the podcast. Okay, I'm gonna go watch some more Adventure Brothers because I really just got into it since hearing it got canceled. And, oh my god, I can't stop watching that.